Well, here we are again for another Movement Pod. Today's episode is sponsored by hard work and dedication. And I also happen to be drinking a Monster right now. So, cheers to hard work and dedication. I wish we were sponsored by Monster.
It'd be pretty sweet. Or
Anybody.
I'll take Milwaukee even.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Actually, my buddy has the most unreal thing. It's like this giant power pack that is like a power generator, a battery pack, a Bluetooth speaker, like literally everything that you could ever want out at like a cottage or something if you ever lost power.
Oh,
that's a good company.
So perfect. I think this is actually part of it because it's the pack out, so it's like it screws onto the top.
Oh,
of it.
Do you have that thing? Like
no. So yeah, I just got a bunch of Milwaukee products, but at Christmas I got a little Milwaukee.
Nice.
Like it's like little pieces. Of things. Yeah.
Now you're a moron.
Yeah.
I got your Milwaukee. I always used to think when I was younger, I was like, I'll know like I'm older and in like dad territory when I start getting like power tools for, so.
Yeah. And then you're all pumped about it.
Yeah. I don't think I'm there yet, but
Soon.
It's still cool stuff.
As soon as you're out of the condo.
Yeah.
And into a house.
They give me all the power tools. Yeah. Well, on that note, a perfect segue from Milwaukee to what we wanted to talk about today, lifting heavy weight. It has nothing to do with that, but so we were kind of brainstorming, chatting about what would be like some good topics, and just over like a couple of conversations that I've heard a little bit more recently kind of inspired the topic to come up, but maybe you can word this in better words, but people often look at like heavy weight and say like lifting a certain amount of weight is dangerous. It's inherently bad for you, or you're going to get hurt when you do it. And we wanted to just talk about that in general. And I don't know, what are your just like blank thoughts?
Well, I get that comment on a lot of my Instagram and YouTube posts a lot, or like, oh, like that's way too heavy, like you shouldn't be doing that, or like, oh yeah, like, well, if a beginner went in and tried that, they would hurt themselves. It's like, would they? Maybe if they tried the same weight that I was doing.
Yeah.
I'm not a beginner at it though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, that'd be like, getting a beginner to go in and squat 500 pounds and they've never squatted before. Yeah. That's going to be heavy for them because heavy is relative to your strength. So it's relative to the person.
Yeah. That was a big thing that we wanted to touch on. Like everything's relative here.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, a certain amount of weight is bad, you're going to hurt yourself. That's just this big arbitrary number. Because you see that all the time. It's like, you should be able to bench press, X times your body weight. Otherwise, wear lipstick is like that.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen that trend on?
Yeah.
And like whatever. Like arbitrary numbers are just not really,
Stupid trend.
Yeah. Weight heavy is relative to your experience and your genetic build and your workout ethic and like your programming, right? Like the work that you've put in. Heavy isn't just like this number is heavy, this number is not.
Yeah. And also like your preparedness that day. So heavy for yourself even has a slight range depending on the day.
Yeah. You could go in and like absolutely smash something, and then 2 weeks later you're maybe at like 90% of that and you're like, wow, this feels tough. Like this is really heavy today.
Yeah.
It's all on a spectrum, I feel like. But like I was just thinking of an analogy. Like if you look at someone like, and this is one of the things that I was thinking about, because this was a few weeks ago. You had shot a video of yourself doing a hack deadlift at like 585. And someone was just asking about like what a hack deadlift was, and I showed the video of that, and there was a comment like, oh, he's gonna hurt himself, and I was like, no. I was like, that actually wasn't like, yes, it was heavy, but I was like, that was actually like right within your range. So like, no, odds of you hurting yourself in that moment are pretty low. Doesn't mean that they're non-existent, but they're pretty low in that moment. Now, like you said, a beginner walks in. This is why I think sometimes like a deadlift is one of the safer things, because like you load it up too heavy, it's just not even coming off the ground, right?
They're not moving it.
But it's like, I don't know, if someone just got their G1 license, I don't know if it's the same in like other countries, but in Canada you get your G1 first, and then you toss them right into an F1.
In Ontario.
Oh,
I hardly even know what a G1 is.
What do you have? What do you have in Winnipeg?
In Winnipeg, it was just beginner, intermediate, full.
Okay.
So I guess it would be the same as
G1, G2, G.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Beginner, you have to drive with somebody in the car with you. Intermediate, you can drive on your own.
Yeah.
And then full is just, that's it.
Yeah.
You're done. Okay. Yeah. Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. We just use a letter and / number system here. But anyways, it would be like someone getting their G1 and being like, okay, like go drive a Formula One vehicle around the track and see what happens. They're not ready for that. They haven't had years of experience doing it. They barely even know how to drive a regular car. But we're not saying, oh, like nobody should ever drive anymore because that's dangerous. No, you start slow. You start driving around in a parking lot, 10 kilometers an hour. We use kilometers here too, right? But if there's any international listeners or viewers, but you start slow and eventually that becomes normal and easy, and then you start picking up the pace and you just become an experienced driver. And it's the same thing. You're not walking into the gym for the first time and ripping 600 pounds. You're probably not going to be able to do that. So you just put in the effort. You start to where your body is able to handle and gradually build off of that. We've talked about this so many times, progressive overload, working within your capacity. That's my two cents on it.
Yeah, that's really the heart of it, is just like that working within your capacity, and that makes it relative to everything. Dave just poured the rest of his can of Monster into his coffee cup so that he can drink it and look a little more sophisticated than just slamming back.
Yeah, exactly. You have to go pinky up. Anyways, you were saying.
Yeah, what was I saying? It's all relative, and like working within your capacity just like brings that relativity into it. So yeah, I don't really have anything.
Well, I think
to add.
Yeah, well, the biggest.
There we go. That's it all.
That's the podcast. It's over. We talked about driving and one day being sponsored by Monster, Milwaukee, and this. But no, the conversation that I was listening to that kind of sparked my general interest in this topic was one of the people that was training in the gym here. We'll keep it as anonymous as possible, but hurt his back acutely while squatting. Ended up being a disc herniation. Whether or not that happened from that acute moment or it was just like an incidental finding, then
I think we can touch on that point after the story.
We should, right? But either way, back was hurt after this squatting incident. And he was mentioning that it was at 220 pounds, right? And so a lot of people hear that and they're like, well, 220 pounds is maybe a lot of weight. That's probably dangerous for you. But the reason we were talking about this was we were trying to figure out what 60% of his current like load was for the day as like a bit of a back offset. And it was 225. And he was like, this seems a little bit too light for me, was the comment. And then it was like that aha moment of this is still slightly heavier than the weight that was heavy at the time and I hurt myself at, right?
Yeah.
He's gradually built things up, has a strong squat now. So does that mean 220 is inherently bad and dangerous or that it's heavy? No, because what was once heavy maybe is now extremely light.
Yeah. He's worked within his capacity, progressively loaded it over time. Tissues got stronger, and now that is lightweight in his body. Like it's well within his body's capability of handling that weight that he's not going to get injured.
Yep. Like I think sometimes people are very self-limiting where they look at a certain number and maybe get intimidated by that, and they're like, oh God, I would never hit that. Like that, I would hurt myself if I did that. And I think there's like that self-limiting factor that in itself will potentially just make you dial things back in your regular training, which means it's maybe not at a high enough intensity to create adaptations, which means you're never really going to get that opportunity to keep progressing towards it. So it's like this vicious cycle of like self-limiting psychological like stuff, and then turns into the physical, just not being able to adapt and get stronger.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mind game, I find.
Yeah. I actually had with one of my online clients, it's been an ongoing cycle of that. Like when I first started working with him, he had 2 disc herniations, father, right? It was difficult to, take care of his family, go take his daughter and play at the park because he couldn't really lift her up, right? And like that was just his first goal, was that he's like, I just want to be able to play with my daughter and be okay with it and not be afraid about my back giving up and like not being able to be there for her.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working, and like a few months in, it's like, okay, he was starting to do things and it was like getting a lot better, and he's like, oh yeah, I feel like I'll be able to actually do that now, and like getting that confidence. And he was like, oh, but he was always like a little afraid of deadlifts but wanted to do it, and he's like, oh, I don't know if I'll like ever be able to deadlift 315 again. Sure enough, a few months later, deadlift 315, and then he's like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever be able to deadlift 405 again. Sure enough, a few months later, smokes 405, and actually just yesterday he messaged me. He's like, I think in 2 to 3 years I'll be able to be repping out 500.
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah, there we go. It's like that mindset change has been so different. Like getting to 315 was a lot of work, and it was like very difficult. There's ups and downs and a lot of like that self-limiting thoughts from him too, and like a lot of fear. It's like, okay, very minor flare-ups on the way. It's like, okay, back's a little bit sore. Okay, we tone things down a little bit, work it up, work on some of the more limiting areas and bring those up so that, when you kind of get that confidence back with the deadlifts, your strength is going to start shooting up again.
Yep.
And it was just like repeated again and again to finally get over those self-limiting thoughts, where it's like, okay, now he's shown himself a year's worth of evidence of him progressing.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what?
Now it sounds like there's like
push it.
Yeah, no self-limiting thoughts.
Yeah.
When you're saying like, give me 2 to 3 years, I'm going to be repping out 500.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you're
like,
just confident now.
There we go.
Yeah. That's awesome. Like,
but for some reason he's also an unreal bencher, and he just doesn't want to believe me when I say that he'll bench 405 one day.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's going to do it. I'm going to make him bench 405.
Nice. I like that. But yeah, it's I also had a client that I started working with towards the end of the summer, who every time would start getting into what was considered heavy for them at that time would hurt their back and get a setback with squats and deadlifts. Particularly, he was a lot more apprehensive about doing deadlifts. And I was like, yeah, we'll start where we can and then we'll build up. And he was like, yeah, like, I don't know if like 225 seems like, I don't even know if that's ever going to happen. And like literally just yesterday, we were talking about like, we were doing some of like the theoretical percentages and stuff, and his like theoretical 1RM is pretty much 3 plates now. And like, it's not even a question. It's just like, I'm going to be crossing 3 plates by the summer and things are feeling good. And like, that's huge when you can finally break through that self-limiting barrier of like, that seems dangerous and I know I'm going to hurt my back if I do that, to just being able to like work through it, build up that confidence through the trial and error and through the process. And then, I mean, I think anybody can have any level of apprehension. Like, I go into a really heavy lift, I'm apprehensive, not about hurting myself, just like you get the little butterflies of like, oh, this is going to be like, this a lot of hard work, got to psych myself up, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, to be able to, I honestly feel like the only way that you're going to get over that like mental hurdle of that seems dangerous and maybe I shouldn't do that is just by doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Do the thing.
Yeah.
Like we got that comment on our bench video where the person's like, oh, if you hurt yourself benching, you shouldn't be benching. I was like, well, the activity that hurts you is probably what's best for rehab, because
it needs work.
You know it's going to be loading the tissues that,
yeah,
were hurt. You just need to modify it to make it appropriate and comfortable. Sometimes that means, maybe you have to really lower it in weight and range of motion and stuff and focus a little bit more on other exercises while things calm down.
Yeah.
Sometimes that just means backing off slightly. But the thing that like hurt you is probably good for you.
Yep.
For your rehab.
Yep. It's been a huge hit to the ego of like what I'm currently able to bench, but I've been doing it like multiple times a week now to get back to things. But like honestly, just getting under 135 and being like, oh, that doesn't feel like super great, it hurts my head so much. I'm just like, I hate this. Like,
yeah.
Especially because I was like working into territory of like, now I'm getting into like new personal bests and stuff like that, like very close.
Yeah.
Taking that step back, but that is life. There's always a non-zero chance that you're gonna hurt yourself doing almost anything. It could be lifting a heavy weight, it could be shoveling your driveway, it could be falling down the stairs accidentally, like a lot of really harmless
standing
things.
Up from the couch, reaching over to grab something. Life happens.
Exactly.
It's just what happens.
Yeah, but I do find it like interesting how somebody can hurt themselves deadlifting 500 pounds. And the first thing is like, you either that was too heavy, that's dangerous, the risk is not worth the reward. Classic deadlift. I hate that line.
That is the worst.
Or just like bad form, too much weight, whatever. Like deadlifts are dangerous. But then somebody bends over to pick up a pencil or sits up out of their couch and throws their back out. Why isn't standing up out of a couch dangerous?
Yeah.
No, you just
then all of a sudden it's looking at everything else around it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just your body went beyond its capacity.
That pencil was way too heavy.
Yeah, pencils, those are dangerous, right? But no, the pencil isn't heavy. Picking up a pencil isn't dangerous. You've just been working your body well beyond what it can tolerate right now. And it was just that one random movement that your body was straight up just like, I'm over all of this. And that doesn't have to be the lifting. That could be just the cumulative amount of stuff that you've been doing. I know we keep harping on the whole like shoveling thing, but like shoveling is a very difficult task to do. Mm-hmm. You're lifting a lot of heavy weight, especially here lately, repetitively. You haven't been practicing it for months on end. So yeah, that's going to be a lot on your back or a lot on your hips or a lot on your shoulders. And most of us don't really consider that. And then we go off to the gym, we do something, and it's just like, oh, that's what hurt my...
Yeah. And on that shoveling thing, too, I actually saw a TikTok, and the person was saying, like, oh, when you're shoveling, don't, like, reach overhead with it because that's a novel task and that'll cause a heart attack. It's like, no, it's not the reaching overhead that's causing the heart attack or the novel task. It's your body's preparedness. It's people that have been sedentary for every other day of the year pretty much, and then they're going out and shoveling and they're working hard, conditions aren't quite perfect, it's probably early in the morning too, tired, all these things add up, and your body's just not quite prepared for it. And that's it's not like this is guaranteed. That's all those things are raising the risk slightly. And it's like the same for exercise. It's like, like lifting weights. Okay, it's all these things and like straining a muscle. Well, it's all these things that are, you've been sedentary before. You haven't done these tasks. You don't have the capacity for it. You go and do something where you're pushing yourself to the limit for repetitive bouts or extended period of time. Something's going to give way, right? It's raising your risk, but that doesn't mean the activity is bad and that it should be avoided. It means that you should train that activity more in smaller doses throughout the year, so you're not unprepared for it when you do have to do it.
My mind just went to the very dark, insensitive corners of my thought compartments in my brain.
I saw you.
You saw me like something was going,
there.
And like just something that you said, it was like, whether we want to talk about lifting your arms over your head while shoveling didn't cause a heart attack. You caused a heart attack by the lifestyle and behaviors and decisions. Now, of course, there are genetic factors that can go into that. There are a lot of really healthy people that live healthy lifestyles that end up getting heart attacks for whatever reason, right? But more often than not, a lot of the heart disease is not that small percentage of a population that just had a freak incident. A lot of it is lifestyle related stuff.
Yeah.
And then, but the same thing with the deadlift. It's like, I hurt my back deadlifting, so the deadlift, that's the problem. No. Sorry, this is insensitive, but you're the problem.
Yeah.
If you haven't been working on that, or you haven't been living a lifestyle that is conducive to good habits and general health and trying to grow your back strength and get enough rest and eat properly in a way that your body can recover, then
you're the problem.
You're the problem. And I know that sounds really insensitive, but a lot of the time that could be the case.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people need to hear. They need to get uncomfortable and angry at it, and then ultimately accept it. Like, yeah, okay, I'm the problem. I'm not doing what I could be doing to make things better for myself, you know, lower my chances for injury risk, just live a better life in general. You're the problem. And the best thing about you being the problem is that you can change it. And it's really
you are the
simple.
Solution too.
You don't have to depend on anyone else, anything else. You don't have to wait for anything. If you're the problem, you can be like, okay, right this second, I'm going to go and I'm going to start fixing that problem. Easy.
Yep.
If you're the problem, it's honestly the best
problem
to have, because
you're in control.
You can be the solution too.
Yeah. Oh, that was deep.
I had just came off the dome. I wasn't even planning that.
Right off the
I didn't
dome.
even it took a second to register.
That is a quote of the century though. If you're the problem, that's a good thing.
I'm smart.
Yeah.
Wow.
I need an acronym for that too, but Kevin's got a lot of those.
If you're the problem, you're the solution.
But I unfortunately, like you said, it is a really uncomfortable thing to hear for people, but I think a lot of injuries, health issues, again, outside of those genetic components or, freak accidents or whatever it might be, when we're looking at specific health issues that are primarily lifestyle driven, like cardiovascular disease, like diabetes, like obesity, things like that, we can even talk about back injuries. Like, it is lifestyle driven sometimes. If you're completely sedentary all the time, sure, if you want to blame sitting slouched in a chair for your back issues, you can do that. But I wouldn't say that sitting slouched in a chair is the reason why you have back issues. It's probably because that's all you ever do. You just sit.
Yeah.
And you're not doing all of the other things that keep you active and keep you feeling good and keep you strong. And it doesn't even have to be exercise. Like, what's your sleep like? We don't know. Like, maybe the pain, injuries,
metabolic health like, right?
Multifactorial, right?
Yeah.
And like, people don't like to hear that. Whereas like, if you just focused a little bit more on I was going to say optimize, and I don't like that word a lot, but like just improving your sleep habits, improving your general eating habits, and improving your physical activity levels, life gets significantly easier and more comfortable.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that there's that short-term like discomfort of doing hard things, of saying no to a bag of chips, or of like, I don't want to go into the gym today and I don't want to lift that heavy weight, but I'm gonna. Or missing out on an extra hour of Elden Ring at night to just get that extra hour of sleep, right?
That's to give up.
That is the can't
that's
dispute that. Yeah. Well, right? Like those types of
there's
things.
balance. But I mean, on that point, like, it doesn't have to be absolutely everything.
No,
I think that's
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. When people try to make a change, they go 0 to 100. And it's everything changed, very drastic, and it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
And they get this disconnect between like what they're doing, how they've lived before, so it's like how they actually view themselves, and it's not lining up. That causes a lot of internal stress, and ultimately they fail.
Yeah.
So it's like just small things at a time, right? Like you said, maybe you give up 10 minutes of Elden Ring at night first, and then the goal is to get to an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like, and there's a lot of different approaches that some people use. Some say just like, because some people can change everything and just go cold turkey and see results from that. But some people, it's like when people are talking about like paying off debt, there's like the avalanche or snowball approach or something, or the avalanche approach, where it's like, okay, pay off the smallest things that you can just get them out of the way. And there's another approach that's just like pay off the biggest thing with the highest interest. So it's like go for the harder thing or go for the easier thing and start feeling good about that. You could just say like, okay, out of all of these things that I could improve, maybe I'm just going to go to bed 30 minutes earlier. And that might be the most accessible and easiest thing for a lot of people. And for someone else, it's like, nope, I'm going to like go get a gym membership and I'm going to start working out, 3 times a week or something and doing those hard things. Like you said, it doesn't matter which one you choose. Do one of those things. And once you get better at it, then start to improve upon all the other areas.
Yeah.
But anyways, that was a big tangent from you're the problem.
Yeah.
No, but like, but yeah, I'm not going to repeat myself, but if you want life to be easier and you don't want to always be sore and don't want to always be hurting yourself, there are many things that are in your control that you can improve upon to make that stuff kind of go away or be limited, I think.
Yeah. The list is pretty much endless.
Mm-hmm. So all that to say, no, a certain number on a barbell is not inherently dangerous, right?
Yeah. It's not about the absolute weight necessarily. It's more about the relative weight to what you can do.
Yep. Because, yeah, I mean, if I asked you, if I just gave you the number 405, what do you think when you hear that for a deadlift?
Easy.
Lightweight, baby.
Honestly, so I played around for a little bit. Like, I don't do warm up with the barbell. I would go, this was when I had keel plates, I would go 70, 120 kilos, 170 kilos, 220 kilos. And I was like, well, I'm not really feeling much at 70, which is 155 pounds. So I started doing 120 kilos as my first one, 264. Then for a bit, I just started doing 170 as my first warm-up set. And I would do 170, 170, 220, and then my working sets. And I honestly felt really, really great doing that. So, like, part of me, 405, so 170 is like 375, I think, in pounds. So part of me, when you say 405, I think
first warm-up set. Yeah.
It's really easy.
Yeah.
For a deadlift for me. But for some people,
they hear that and they're like,
that's like a lifetime goal.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all relative to the person.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And so and I think about this to myself, like I remember I was working out, this was when I was still at CMCC, and one of our buddies from undergrad he's a national power lifter, and he came in for a workout, and I was trying to rep out 505 for deadlifts, and he just walks up cold turkey, matches that, and then continued to build up to was it, I forget if it was like 715 or
one of the twins
more. What's that?
Was he one of the twins?
No.
Those guys are beasts too.
Yeah. Who are they?
I can't remember their names now.
He's not a twin, no. But anyways, he ended up like easily hitting a number. He was like, if I had done that in competition, that would have been a weight class record. And he made it look so easy. And I just remember thinking like the bar wouldn't budge if I touched that. But for him, he's just like literally cold turkey 505 505 pounds on the bar after I was just like exhausted after doing a rep out. And I'm like, man, that's not fair. Like it's so relative, right?
Yeah.
You get a guy like Eddie Hall, he would probably look at your like it being in the sixes and being like, dude, I could like clean and press that.
Yeah.
So
just throwing it around.
And what's the difference between Eddie Hall and you? I mean, there's a lot of differences.
About 200 pounds.
About 200 pounds. He's British. He's got an accent.
Yeah.
But probably years of experience, a bunch of other aspects, right? And so, yeah, if something seems really heavy and unattainable right now, well, maybe you haven't put enough time and effort to build up to that to make that seem completely normal, right?
Yeah.
It's the experience side of things that really helps too with lifting.
Yeah, like even if I saw myself back when I was at CMCC and, you know, what I'm lifting now versus then, I'd be like, my goodness. Like, yep. I think the first time 405 really kind of became like a very nonchalant weight for me was one day you actually were doing like a sets of 10 with 405. You're like, you want to just hop in with me? I was like, sure. And we just went back and forth.
Yeah.
And then it was like after that day, I was like, okay, 405's peanuts. It's nothing now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was either yesterday or the day before I was talking to Colton because we were just talking about how strong you are. And
thanks, guys.
Yeah. And I was like, because I was thinking back to the CMCC days too, when I was stronger then than I am now. And I was like, I don't know if my memory's great, but I was like, I feel like you and I were kind of like close to on par. I don't know how far off we were from each other.
I think you were a little stronger.
Yeah. And I go to Colton and I'm like, have you ever seen one of those financial charts where it's showing household income and cost of housing? Where it's like cost of housing, household income, and it just drops. I was like, that's me and Kevin. As soon as we graduated from Cairo,
yeah,
Kevin just kept going up, and I just went. I was like, but now I'm working way back up, right? But yeah, it's all relative. However, I will say the one thing that I always said I wanted to do was, if I can just walk into a gym, rip 405 cold, no warm up needed. I know I'm in a good spot, and still to this day, I'm good.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's one thing that a lot of people can get a better mindset on, is that you don't need to spend so much time warming up. Your body's a lot more capable than you think it is. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it might not feel perfect or great every single time, but you can go and probably go and just hit 80% of your 1 rep max without a warm up and be totally fine, and it moved like pretty well.
Yep.
No matter what. Like, you don't need to be so warmed up and prepared for everything all the time.
Yep.
And just getting over that mindset and being able to just be like, okay, yeah, I know my body's capable of this, and you go in and do it. Sure, it's maybe not be like optimal or perfect performance at that second, but you're probably pretty close to that without any warm up at all. Mm-hmm. And I think that can really get people's apprehension to certain numbers, like really decrease that apprehension.
Mm-hmm. I think we've talked about this before, about like the importance of warm up and stuff like that. And where my thoughts kind of lie is I find two things that doing a slightly longer warm up could be good for. One, psychological benefit. You're just spending a little bit more time so you're feeling confident, so great, go for it. Or two, just especially in like maybe younger kids, is just getting accustomed to different movement, just so that your body can be used to variety. But besides that, like when I go in for a workout, we deadlifted yesterday. I didn't do a bunch of stuff. I just loaded up a bar and started. That was it.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, like my warm-ups, I actually put 135 on, and I picked it up once, and I was like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah.
And then just like started slapping on more plates, right? Yeah, it's so like if psychologically maybe that can help someone, sure. I think we talked about that with like athletes. Like there's that psychological advantage to just setting yourself into that right? zone of feeling prepared. But physiologically speaking, if you're going to be spending like 20 minutes on a warm up for a lift, I don't know if that's like the most efficient use of time.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially if you're, the average person and you only have, 45 to 90 minutes to work out.
Yeah.
If up to half of that time is spent on your warm up, you're really screwing yourself over, right?
Yeah.
Like you could probably just go in, take 2 minutes to, maybe move around a little bit. Yeah, sure, maybe you've been sitting. It's like moving around makes you feel a little bit better, and then the lifts feel a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Sure, take those 2-3 minutes, move around intentionally, then get to your work. But you don't need to be spending 20-25 minutes prepping
Yep.
to lift a bar off the ground.
Yeah. I remember back when I was like training as a hockey player, and we were always told to show up to the gym like 15 minutes early to get 10 minutes of like foam rolling in. I just remember just lying on the ground, rolling around on that thing, just being like, I hate this.
Yeah.
And that was that. That was it. That's what I got out of that.
Like,
I
this
hate
is just
this.
a waste of time.
It hurts. Well, I was told that it was good for me, but, you know, hindsight.
Yeah.
2020. But at the time, I was just like, why are we doing this? I hate this. It doesn't, I don't feel better. I don't feel looser. It just hurts.
Yeah.
It was always like 10 minutes of that, where that extra 10 minutes could have been
visualizing. Probably would have been better for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or maybe that extra 10 minutes every single day for those summers could have been, at the end of the summer, an extra 10 pounds on a lift.
Yeah.
Because you're putting a little bit more volume and work and effort into that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a whole other exercise right there.
Yep.
That could have been 10 minutes of bicep curls every single workout, and you could have had huge,
I could have had huge arms.
Huge guns.
These dinky things. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? Well, nope. Go.
Okay. I will say, sometimes a warm-up can be beneficial if you use it like, I don't know why I just struggle with that. If you're very intentional with it, to do the things that you don't usually do and treat that as a warm-up.
Yes.
Let's say you never hit your calves. Okay, you're going to use calf raises as your warm-up. You're trying to learn a new lift, right? You've never done Olympic lifts and you're trying to learn how to snatch. You're going to spend 10 minutes trying to learn how to snatch because you're going to be so bad at it that it's not going to tire you out because you're not using that much weight.
Yeah.
So it gives you that opportunity to just try something, and then, okay, now you're mentally prepared and maybe your body's a little bit warmer, and then you can get into your first exercise, right? Just pick something like, oh, I've been trying to learn this skill. Random example. Maybe you're trying to learn how to juggle. Try to learn how to juggle for 10 minutes and then get to your workout.
Yeah.
That is one way. Those
Juggling
are the
dumbbells.
ways. Yeah. I actually have been practicing juggling 2 frisbees and a football in my basement between, like,
of course you have.
For warm up for some of my workouts. I spend like 3 minutes. That is something that I would suggest if you're like very consistently neglecting something. Be like, okay, instead of, doing your usual warm up, take 5 minutes, do the thing that you've been neglecting. Mentally treat that as a warm-up. Boom, there you go. Now you're warmed up, quote unquote, and you did the thing that you've been putting off for the last 10 workouts.
Yes. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But while we are on the topic of, well, we're talking
juggling,
juggling or myths, I was thinking that we have a new segment that we'd like to try, but I was also thinking that we don't have the whiteboards and the markers.
Oh yeah,
so I think we need those. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get those, and they're gonna return, and then we're gonna go through the segment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We are back. This segment is this is like our pilot episode for this segment because we're gonna have way better props in the future. This is, I don't even know, we didn't even come up with you're going to draw the meter.
I'm thinking that's a good idea.
I like that.
I'm not good at drawing. I'm going to try that again.
I was going to say like a scale of 1 to 10 and we just put the number, but...
I think we got to do the meter.
We got to do the meter? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna draw my meter too. People might be like, what the heck is going on here?
You'll understand.
Do we divide it up into like 5 pizzas?
Ooh. I was just going to leave it as like not like sectioned. Just
let's go
one side and then the other side,
One side, let's say on the left side, let's write like okay.
Yeah.
And then on the right side, we're going to write BS. And I'm going to put 3 exclamation marks. Okay. So this segment is the BS meter. We are going to each bring up something that is either a concept or something that's trending in the realm of health and fitness. And we're going to give it a rating, each of us, and then we'll talk about why we gave it that rating. Now, I think it'd be really funny if something came up and we were on opposite ends of the spectrum here. I'd just fight it out. But I feel like we're going to have very similar answers to a lot of this stuff. But anyways, I'm going to let you start off with your first concept for the inaugural BS meter.
Okay.
Remember, brought to you by BS on the internet. I'm still drinking a Monster.
Do I want to go with my more sciencey one or just... No, I'm going to go with this one first. Everyone should try to use textbook perfect form on every exercise all the time. Oh, and I got to write where I think it is?
Yes. I'm going to write my arrow. I'm going to draw my arrow.
Yeah, I think around. Sure.
I don't know if it's move your yeah, right there. Okay, so a little bit to the left. So Kevin's not quite right at the full BS. He's got a little bit of wiggle room. I don't know if mine is in the frame or not. But I put it at the absolute maximum range of the BS meter.
Yeah, I don't know why I chose to not go to maximum.
You're just saying it's BS.
Yeah.
And
I had some thoughts. Oh, also I drew a little
pile of poop. That's good. Let me quickly explain why I put it at the very edge.
Yeah.
Because this doesn't have anything to do with like whether we want to talk about good form for efficiency or technique or whatever. We can talk about that. I put it at the very edge because you said everyone all the time ever, and I think that anytime there's any absolute in health and fitness, I don't listen to it.
Yeah.
It's not, everything has nuance. Everything's like gray and not black and white. So as soon as I hear an absolute, nope, you've just instantly lost my attention. Yeah. Not you, whoever would say that, right?
Yes.
Like certain universities that do exercises, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love how we're just dancing around that. So
Burpee Academy.
Yeah,
anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Bench press college.
Yeah.
So I did not quite full just because I was like wanted to straw man myself a little bit.
Okay.
And just be like, well, you know, what is textbook perfect form? Kind of talking about that. And I had another point, and then it's just kind of like escaping my head right now. So I'm just gonna keep yapping until it hopefully comes back. I don't think it's coming back. But yeah, so it's just like kind of straw man and be like, well, you know, maybe there's certain instances where perfect form, quote unquote, is actually more beneficial or the right thing to do. Yeah, so I was just trying to straw man myself and create a little bit of chatting.
No. Like, again, it goes back to the nuance thing, because could you argue that there is maybe perfect form for an individual? I think I don't know if perfect's the right word, but I think there is a better way, more efficient way for somebody to do a specific exercise. But however, I think it's a good idea for people to not only ever do that, because you need to let your body get used to variety, so that in the moment where you do sway from that perfect normal form or whatever you want to call it, your body's prepared to handle that.
Yeah.
Right?
I also think that like perfect form for pretty much everyone isn't going to look like a textbook form. No. Because everyone
toes forward, feet shoulder width apart.
Yeah. Everyone's a little bit different. All your experiences are slightly different too, where your strong's a little bit different. So that textbook perfect form is going to also look different for the person. Yeah. Sometimes that textbook perfect form is where they actually have less capacity, so that's going to increase their injury risk.
I agree.
So
usually, and I think that this is a concept that I'm glad that you put this in here, because my things it's not going to spark good conversation, and I apologize for that. But I think the way that we were trained in school, we were just having this conversation how the rehab training was not good. No offense. You're trained to look very lackluster. You're trained to look at someone's movement and say either that's right or that's wrong.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the wrong thing is going to cause injury.
Yeah. We were taught to look for like dysfunctions and pathologize normal movement, normal variations.
But we were never taught that there might be a reason why somebody is moving that way. And I think like one of the good hypotheses or theories is that people default to a position where they are maybe stronger in. So if you see somebody squatting and their knees come in, that might just be a stronger position for them, not a bad position.
Yeah. I've actually made a whole video on that where looking at that knee valgus more, so the knees caving in, also changes how much certain muscles are working.
Exactly.
So the paper that I was looking at, it was looking at like the glutes, and it's like, okay, it's actually increasing the moment arm on some of the glute muscles without changing the torso angle. Right. So it's kind of a way to increase work from the glutes without increasing as much of the torso angle and maybe taking work off of maybe some of the low back musculature, right? Maybe your low back's not quite as strong, so then you're a little bit more upright. Glutes and legs are a little bit stronger, so you can use those. Or maybe your quads aren't quite as strong, so that allows you to have slightly less knee bend by getting it with more knee valgus. Yeah. Right? And that's all just depends on the individual, where they're strong.
Yeah.
What are the movement strategies that are going to allow them to lift the most weight?
Yeah. Right? The other one that we've talked about plenty of times is that when people round their back when they're deadlifting, the reason why a lot of people default to that is because you're actually stronger in that position.
Yeah.
Right? So
shortens the moment arm on some hip extensors, and it might be a more favorable position for your erectors to produce some better force. So you're just be able to lift more weight.
Yeah, and from like a completely non-scientific or jargon or whatever, we're just saying certain positions makes movements easier on certain muscles.
Yeah.
You round your back because it's easier for your muscles to move your body in that sense. You maybe allow your knees to cave in because certain muscles can be more efficient at moving your body to get out of a squat, right? And you could look at that across a wide variety of dysfunctions that people look at. Maybe your hips are shifting, or maybe there's a bit of rotation with something. And I'm not saying that this is 100% what happens, but that's the logical thing that you could kind of think of, is that's just your body trying to be more efficient and stronger for the exercise. So.
Yeah. On the knee valgus one, like look at Carlos Nassar, who's a world record holder, weightlifter. When he's squatting, he squats with knee valgus.
Yep.
And then people make the excuse that, he's just different because he's at the top, so he can do that.
No.
And it's okay. No, that's not the case. It's that he's stronger there. Someone who, doesn't dedicate their whole life to training, they could still be stronger there, and it's a fine position for them and not more injurious.
Yeah.
And that's a better way for them to squat.
Yeah.
You don't have to be some anomaly to squat like that.
No. You look at the world record marathon runners, they run with knee valgus.
Yeah. Bunch of pronation.
Yeah. A bunch of stuff that people would usually say is like, that's bad and that's going to cause issues. And ultimately, most of those issues, as we've discussed about, comes down to your capacity and preparedness and tolerance to how much stuff you're doing. But yeah, anyways, perfect form, textbook form for everybody. Absolutes like that. BS. Okay. Oh man, that was actually a good conversation. I think this next conversation is going to be really short.
That's okay. We need balance.
We do need balance. This is just something that I've seen.
Should I pre-make my line?
You could. This is just something that I've actually seen come up over probably the last couple of years, just randomly on social media. You just see a post of someone saying this. They say, farting burns 67 calories. And they're like, that's how I can lose weight. Or like, why am I not losing weight? Because every time I fart, I burn 67 calories. So that's the claim. Okay.
I like how yours is slightly off. You're like, you do burn some calories.
I don't know what the number is. You're going to burn something. Maybe it's half a calorie. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like, if you really wanted to talk about like all
the
of the calories
process,
that you burned,
like
the digestion into the gas.
Yeah, I was going to say, is the whole process taking, okay, you know what, from actually chewing it and then swallowing it, digesting it converting into gases.
Yeah, okay.
Right? Like,
so we know that digesting food burns calories. That's the thermic effect of food. That's a big portion of...
That is not BS. And with differing diets, your actual, like, functional calories is going to be different.
Yeah.
It's not going to be super massive difference, but it could be significant if you go from eating 3,000 calories of donuts a day to 3,000 calories of, tofu, chicken, beans, stuff that's like takes
high
a lot
fiber,
more.
high protein, which it takes significantly more calories to break down in your body.
Yeah.
If at all, right? Certain fibers, but
yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of validity to that, and the thermic effect of food, there's a wide range, but that can be upwards of like 10 to 15% of your total calories burned in a day.
Yeah.
Depending on what types of foods that you're eating, right? So you're going to be burning those calories regardless. I think, and I don't know what percentage of the population is going to hear that and truthfully like believe it. In my experience walking about this planet, I think a good portion of people might.
A surprisingly high amount of people.
Yes. And so I guess what we're saying here is no, just the act of simply letting out some gas is not just going to burn 67 calories.
So don't go and fart 10 times and be like, there's my exercise for the day.
Yes, exactly. And I think the bigger message here is like, just don't believe everything you see on the internet. Come on.
Yeah. And don't look for little hacks.
Right.
Right? Like,
maybe if I
that's
just
one of those
more, I would.
It's one of those, okay, you're looking for a little hack and a workaround to be like, I don't want to acknowledge that I am the problem. And I don't want to do the work to make myself the solution.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any behavior change. I don't want to change my diet. I don't want to exercise a little bit more, right? I don't want to do X, Y, and Z.
Usually it's the, does this trend of like vibration plates and stuff, is that going to help me burn calories, or this crazy supplement or this food? Usually you hear things like that. But in this case, it could be just if I fart more.
There's this trend of the... Also, this is like just Western, classic Western, like, oh, this ancient Chinese secret is the key to losing weight. And it's like these people are just bouncing up and down 50 times in the morning.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is going to detoxify my body and make me lose weight. It's like, no, it's better than not.
Yeah.
Right? You're starting your day with a little bit of movement, and that is good. But just like bouncing up and down isn't like a special movement that's going to make all these changes, and it's not going to make you lose 10 pounds in a month.
Yeah.
Because you're just bouncing up and down 50 times in the morning.
Yeah.
If that makes you change more habits and be more mindful of what you're eating and go out and walk more, those other habits are actually what's making you lose the weight. That little daily activity in the morning might have been the catalyst that got you to actually change your lifestyle.
Right.
But it's not actually itself directly moving the needle.
Yeah, and I think that's probably another concept that we could spend more time talking about in the future, which is just confounding variables, right? Like a lot of times somebody makes a bunch of changes, but like there's that one thing that they're really focused on, like that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing that got
this
me
novel
there.
Special thing.
But it's like, no, everything else that you were doing all together got you to where you are, not this one thing. Maybe most of the time.
That is right on topic with BS, though. I like that one. That was good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Farting and BS.
You're going to like my second one.
Oh, my goodness.
I really put it towards the theme, so yeah.
There's quite the juxtaposition of themes coming up here. Okay. Isometrics are better than concentric and eccentric exercise for tendon health or tendon injury. Didn't think you were going to have to think this much, eh?
Yeah, I'm thinking. Okay, so isometrics are just simply better than the other two.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, that's typically what's touted online and even taught in school.
Yep. And for context to anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, a isometric exercise is where you're just holding one position. Think of like a wall sit where you're feeling the burn in your legs, but your legs aren't moving. Concentric is when the muscle is shortening, and eccentric is when the muscle is lengthening. So during a pull-up, as you're pulling yourself up, for specific muscles, that would be the concentric. As you're going back down and things are stretching out again, that would be the eccentric. But that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. We got a bit of a difference here. I can explain why maybe mine is closer to the middle than there.
Yeah. I'll let you go first.
Okay. So the reason why I have it a little bit closer to the middle, but it's still further on the side of BS, is because it has probably been a year and a half, maybe even 2 years that I've actively looked at the literature. So I don't know where it's at since probably 2022, 2023. What I will say is that what we were always taught in school was that super heavy concentrics were great for tendons, right? My personal belief and what I am aware of the literature that I have read is that it actually doesn't really make a difference what style of contraction is going on as long as you're loading the tendon appropriately.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's kind of like gone. I don't know if it was super heavy eccentrics, I think, was taught in school.
Maybe yes, but I know
but there was also
Jill
just
Cook's research where it was super heavy isometrics was what they were really looking at.
Yeah.
In terms, especially for like Achilles tendon and things like that. That was what they kind of preached.
Yeah.
But
and then it's kind of gone like, okay, isometrics, and there's a lot of people being like, oh, isometrics are great because they're better for tendon health. A lot of people are doing isometrics now for tendon health.
Can I just finish one thing, and maybe you were going to go with this. But ultimately, it's the tension and the stress that you put on the tendon that's going to make it respond, whether that's concentric, eccentric, or isometric. So if you're doing a wall sit for your patellar tendon with no weight, you could concentrically or eccentrically load it with a good amount of weight on a squat and get significantly more stimulus to your tendon. So ultimately, it doesn't matter the type, is my belief. It just matters how much appropriate load is going through it.
Yep.
Just
bang
like
anything. Bang on. It's all about the capacity and just like getting appropriate loading and enough loading. So loading it heavier is better for getting a response from the tendon. Volume per set doesn't necessarily really matter. Speed of the movement seems to have a little bit of an effect. So very fast plyometric movements don't actually deform the tendon cells all that much. So there's a much smaller response. There's still a response. You still get, better adaptation from the tendon. I'm trying not to go into the nitty gritty too much and get everyone to tune out, but it still adapts, but not quite as much. Now, I didn't go completely BS because there is some nuance to it.
Yeah, that's why I put it here, because at the end of the day, I don't care what style of contraction you do as long as you load it.
Move it to over your face a little bit more. Yeah.
I don't care what style of muscle contraction you do as long as you're putting appropriate load. And that's why I put it up here.
Yeah.
Because, the concept of saying it is superior, I don't know what the nuance is. Maybe there's a non-statistical significance of it being better. I don't know. But you can isometrically load all you want as long as there's appropriate loading.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then same with, moving through a range of motion. The times where I'd say that isometrics might be better is they're more predictable. So this is like the nuance. As you're going through a full squatting pattern, the loading on the tendon at certain positions is inconsistent. So you have ups and downs. As you get fatigued through a set, you're moving a little bit differently. It might force you to load things in different ways, and then that loading can go up and
Yeah.
maybe be a little bit above your capacity and cause some aggravation. That's why I'd say, okay, isometrics can be a little bit better of a starting point sometimes, or even just like more predictable, because you're working at one specific angle, you know how it feels, and as long as you're appropriately loading it,
Yeah.
you're getting those benefits.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the nuance.
And that would be a little bit more workable in like an injured population, where it's like, okay, if I just hold that position, it doesn't feel that bad, so I can do that versus feeling something bad. But
if you're fully healthy and feeling all good, adding in extra isometrics isn't really doing anything else for your tendons, unless it's helping you hit certain angles and muscles a little bit better because you just like training those in an isometric way and it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Then you're actually getting benefit from it. But
preference.
if you're squatting heavy, doing wall sits isn't going to add extra tendon health.
Right.
As long as you're practicing good load management with your squats.
Yeah. And just as a quick aside, I don't know if you look at like Brad Schoenfield's work, but they just recently came out with like, it always used to be like eccentrics were a little bit better for like muscle hypertrophy and stuff. And there was just recently stuff that said like all three of them build the same amount as long as you're training close to failure.
Yeah.
That's it. So like at the end of the day, whatever your goal happens to be, if you can stress your muscles in a certain way so that they can adapt in a certain way that you want them to, then I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But as you said, there might be some small benefits to choosing one over the other in certain contexts.
And it really comes down to the individual.
Okay.
Okay.
So my final one. You really brought the A game for like great scientific discussion today. I really stayed on theme for both of mine because I was really going with the BS stuff that I see on the internet. I think next time we do this, I'm going to bring some science.
I'll go wacky.
This one is also very BS-y. Doing coffee enemas helps with detoxifying your system. And we can expand that to even there are health benefits for doing coffee enemas. How do I... So,
are you slightly off because it's like, well, if you're constipated, it could help you? Or
well, okay. So let me explain. There are two reasons why you could maybe do this. Yeah. One, yes, an enema flushes things out when you're constipated, whether it's whatever solution it happens to be. So yeah, that. Or if you're just really weird and you like putting stuff up there, whatever. I'm not going to judge you. Otherwise, there is no health benefit to doing that. There is no scientific literature that I'm aware of that says that that does anything. And to contradict my previous point of if you really want to do that, go for it. I'm pretty sure there's actually even some dangers to doing that. Like you can actually affect the lining and damage some of that. So, like from the aspect of does an enema work with constipation, there's a tiny bit of put something in to get something out, sure, but besides that, this is so dumb, and people like want to die on this hill that this is a good thing. Like, I'm sorry, but like people that post videos of them doing this, you just see like the IV bag and they're upside down lying on their shower and you just see a tube going into nowhere, but you know where the tube's going. I'm like, how can you post yourself doing that on the internet?
It's crazy.
That's, in my opinion, pretty embarrassing, but I mean, whatever.
Hey, pays the bills. You know,
it is jarring to.
Not the greatest thing to do.
No, like you can burn the inside of you. You can cause tissue damage on the inside of your rectum.
It's probably a lot more enjoyable to just drink a coffee and
taste it.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's probably also going to make you poop.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Coffee does have that effect on some people.
You don't need to go and do the enema. You're not detoxifying anything. You're, if you got a working liver, you're
and
detoxifying, and kidneys, you're detoxifying pretty well.
Yeah.
If your lifestyle isn't terrible, your detoxification, your body is taking care of it pretty good. Right.
It just seems like such a weird wagon to hop on.
Yeah.
And
when did it start exploding?
I don't know. There's a lot of weird.
It all started with
things
sunning your butthole.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, when was it? That was like the mid 2010s or something.
Well, like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I just remember there being a joke of people talking about butt chugs or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
But like, people actually took this to a serious level and said, this is really good for you and I'm going to start doing this. And I don't know where they got this idea.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I don't. Man.
I'm at a loss for words.
And all it takes is one person that maybe has 1 million followers on a social media platform, and they do this, and people hop in.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to the whole, like, where we were saying, like, there's probably a large number of people that believe that farting burns 67 calories. There's a lot of people, as long as that person is speaking very confidently.
Yeah.
It
takes one person with influence who wants a lot of money.
Yeah.
To do something that is very much out of the norm, and it will cause a big uprising.
Yeah. And
a lot of clicks and a lot of money. Like a cult-like following, honestly.
Yeah.
All the time.
I think, do a little bit of critical thinking whenever you see something, and take everything with a grain of salt. But this just reminds me of one of the PhD students in the lab that I was working in undergrad goes into the gym and he balances on one leg on a Bosu ball and has a Swiss ball up on the wall. He's got one of those neck things with chains with plates on, and then he's got dumbbells, and he's slamming his head into the stability ball, doing curls, balancing on one leg on a Bosu ball. And I go up to him and I'm like, what are you doing? And this was his answer. He was like, okay, a tiny bit of part of me is just like whoever works on neck strength. So I'm kind of doing that. He was like, but the bigger part of me is I'm a big guy and I lift heavy and a lot of people watch me in the gym. So I figured, what if I did something and then other people started doing it and it was really dumb?
That guy's a legend.
And I think that happens a lot on the internet.
Yeah. That is amazing.
So just take everything with a grain of... Oh, now my brain's thinking, what can we make super popular that is useless?
Zlorp.
Zlorp.
Well, we got to double down on Zlorp.
Zlorp isn't useless.
But it's not useless.
Yeah. I mean, this is kind of
I'd say it takes away from a shoulder press, but
yes, it makes it less
efficient. It's not the same as standing on one leg on a Bosu ball.
We got to prepare a full pitch for Zlorp. More people need to Zlorp.
We got to make Zlorp crazier. Zlorp 2.0.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to brainstorm this and...
Yep.
Okay, take it to the workshop.
It'll be good.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of BS.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe next time we'll have a couple of things in there that I'll try my best to have.
BS?
Yeah, some stuff that, or like at least has a little bit more like, oh, but maybe if you look at it this way.
Yeah.
Which I guess like the tendon thing had a good discussion at least, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's BS out there. Sometimes there's not as much BS, but that's the way she goes.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's a good pod. We've been going for a little while here.
Yeah, a little over an hour.
That's what we said. We don't need any talking points. It just keeps going and going. We talk about...
We originally, when Dave he was like, oh, can you do a pod on Thursday? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay. Mentioned a 45-minute time window, and I'm like, we need at least an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We didn't even have any topics at that point yet.
We said, let's talk about how lifting heavy isn't bad, and let's do a BS meter. That's literally what we walked in here, and we're an hour 10 later. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening and watching. As always, if you have any questions or have any things that you want us to cover, leave it in the comments. Like, follow, subscribe. All the usual stuff.
And again, thank you to our sponsors. Hard work.
Hard work.
And dedication.